What exactly is an electronic signature? Electronic signatures have become more and more commonplace, but have you ever really considered their history and their purpose? In today's video, we're taking a deep dive into e-signatures. First by looking way back to how signatures originally came about, and then by taking a look forward to see how they can improve our future. I'm Raid here with Jotform. Let's dive right into it. Do you ever wonder where signatures came from and why they are so important in our society? As it turns out, signatures came about to ensure these three things. First, authenticity. Signatures prove a signer's identity. For example, the signature on the back of a credit card shows who its owner is. Second, data integrity. A signature is a stamp of integrity that shows that a document has not been altered. Things like tamper-proof paper and indelible ink preserve the integrity of original signatures. And third, non-repudiation. One signature prevents them from denying involvement in an agreement. It acts as evidence to a third party, like a judge, that the signer agreed to the transaction. When a customer signs a receipt, for example, the buyer is giving the store proof that the transaction took place. A signature's value comes from its significance as a type of guarantee, but even still, written signatures cannot be 100% secure. So, is it time for a newer, more secure type of signature? Technology is always evolving, so it's no surprise that signatures should too. In the 1800s, people began by sending signatures through the telegraph, and more than 100 years later, they evolved to send signatures by fax. Electronic signatures become inevitable with the development of the internet, and through cryptography and mobile devices, we are now able to seal a contract at any time from anywhere. So, let's go ahead and take a closer look at electronic signatures. If you were to ask a group of people to define what an electronic signature is, you would likely get a variety of responses due to the confusion surrounding digital signatures, e-signatures, and related terms. It's important to understand that e-signature is simply an abbreviation of the term electronic signature, and that they refer to exactly the same thing. That said, let's take a look at the most important definition of an e-signature, the legal definition. According to the Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce Act, the term electronic signature refers to an electronic sound, symbol, or process attached to or associated with a contract or other record that is executed or adopted by a person with the intent to sign the record. Nolo's Plain English Law Dictionary defines the electronic signature as a paperless method of entering into an electronic contract. But why is it so important to know the legal definition of electronic signature? Well, it is the definition a judge would ultimately use to determine the legality of an e-signature. This definition can come in handy if someone questions the legitimacy of your contract. But in most cases, you and your users won't need to know this legal definition in detail. Speaking of users, another way to define the term e-signature is by the user's understanding of it. To users, electronic signatures look and act just like written signatures, and they should be aware that signing their e-signature holds the same consequences as signing on paper. The only practical difference is that you won't need a pen, and rather than photocopies of the signed documents, you'll likely receive copies by email. One key advantage of e-signatures is their simplicity. They are faster, with a quick turnaround leading to lower costs, more efficient document management, and higher security. Then there's the digital signature definition. While you might think that a digital signature is the same thing as an electronic signature, digital signatures are actually the cryptography behind an electronic signature. They verify the signer's identity and authenticity of the document. Various types of digital signatures work with different methods of encryption and identification. Certain authorities are responsible for maintaining encryption systems and issuing certificates to ensure integrity and security. Put another way, an electronic signature is a simple representation of a complex technology, much like with a website where the web page you're seeing is a representation of the HTML, CSS, and other complex technology. While legal and technical definitions might be useful, they're not necessary for businesses or casual users. There are many easy to use guides for novices, making electronic signatures more user-friendly. As you can see, signatures have come a long way from quill and ink. How did we get here? And how has the signature changed so much? And what do these changes mean for the future? To better understand what the future of signatures might look like, let's look at what we know about their history. Through 3500 to 3100 BC, the first known writing systems were used. Pictures and symbols were inscribed on Sumerian clay tablets. Then, in 1500 through 1200 BC, the oldest verified alphabet emerged among the Phoenicians. In the year 80 BC, Roman law prohibited the falsification of land inheritance documents. Modern forgery laws can be traced back to this time. Between 50 and 55 AD, Paul and Tertius signed their names to the letters of the New Testament. In 1613, Shakespeare signed his last will and testament. Notably, in 1776, John Hancock was the first to sign the United States Declaration of Independence. In 1867, the U.S. courts first considered the question of electronic signatures. The courts and government decided to accept signatures sent via telegraph. During the 1980s, signatures via fax machines emerged. Later, courts around the world deemed them legal and binding. In the year 2000, President Clinton signed the ESIGN Act into law through both electronic means and by pen and ink. So what can we learn from this timeline? First, that humans have always wanted to make their mark, which for thousands of years meant traditional engraving and writing. And second, that the electronic transmission of signatures has been around for 150 years. Governments have shown that they are quick to accept new forms of electronic signatures as legal. Thanks to technology, signatures have changed time and time again, and technology shows no sign of slowing down. Companies that don't keep up with digital trends are sure to be left behind. So, what does this mean for business leadership? You would think that with proven technology and a guaranteed legal status that all enterprises would use e-signatures, but that's not the case. There are some significant roadblocks in adopting electronic signatures, such as organization size, availability of resources, vendor support, and government policies. Even once an enterprise adopts e-signatures, they still face a range of challenges, like convincing stakeholders, including customers, employees, and partners, changing processes such as design challenges and identifying specific needs, using up all of their capacity, especially in technical knowledge and training, and sourcing necessary data and documents. More importantly, the tradition of wet signatures can be hard to abandon. A big part of the problem is the fear of change. But why is that companies are so afraid to break from convention? Some claim that signatures on a screen are worse for our eyes and comprehension. But this idea isn't founded in research. Studies dating from the 1980s show that screens are equal or better to paper for viewing documents. And recent studies have shown that people enjoy reading complex content on electronic screens. But does accepting electronic signatures weaken the integrity of your contract? In some places where there are laws against electronic signatures, you'll need to sign in person with notaries, witnesses, or other safeguards. Otherwise, e-signatures are just as valid as handwritten ones. However, handwritten signatures are an important part of symbolic events. For example, presidential orders and international treaties go beyond mere documents, meaning that politicians will undoubtedly continue to sign them on paper. Nevertheless, the adoption rate of electronic signatures is increasing. Obtaining e-signatures is easier, faster, and cheaper than traditional signatures. But there are even more benefits to the electronic signature than we may realize. Let's first consider why electronic signatures are needed in the first place. Technological and political forces have converged to produce a global, web-focused playing field, allowing for collaboration in real time. Because of this, electronic signatures have become interwoven into our globalized world. They're more secure and less wasteful than traditional signatures, saving time, money, and resources. In the instance of global commerce, its value increased from $16 trillion in 2013 to $25 trillion in 2015. Clearly, the world is on the brink of an improved digital economy, and electronic signatures are a great way to provide new digital opportunities. E-signatures can have a big effect, even for a relatively small innovation. Large enterprises have many processes that need to be automated to become more efficient. Faster processes lead to happier customers and result in more time for security, reliability, and repeatability. Then there's cybersecurity. The average business faces over 200 targeted cyber attacks each year. Of those, businesses are able to thwart around 80%. To protect themselves, many companies use encryption and certificate-based digital identification systems, which come from dedicated certificate authorities or trust service providers. CAs and TSPs provide the digital signatures behind the electronic signatures. When you create an electronic signature, that signature is uniquely linked to your identity. Then that signature is tied to a document, and everything becomes encrypted. Another aspect to consider is the environmental impact. The average office worker throws away 10,000 sheets of paper per year, and paper use will only increase through 2023. Traditional signatures are preventing businesses from cutting down on waste and creating the ideal paperless office. Even the government is on board with reducing paper waste. The Government Paperwork Elimination Act was enacted in 1998, and it requires federal agencies to use electronic forms, filing, and signatures. And of course, there's the time savings. In the past, to fill out a form by 5 p.m., you would have to type, print, sign, scan, and email this form by the time it was due. Now, thankfully, you can simply send a digital document with an e-signature. The recipient can then use their mobile devices to fill out the form and return it. Implementing e-signatures across your organization might seem like a minor change. However, it majorly improves efficiencies in time and money. So, what are the advantages of e-signatures over traditional signatures? When Adobe acquired Omniture in 2009, the HR team sent out offer letters the traditional way, by printing 3,600 offer letters, stuffing them into 3,600 FedEx envelopes, and using 2 conference rooms to send the letters out. The entire process took 2 weeks to complete, with the fastest response coming back in 72 hours. On the other hand, when Adobe acquired Neolane, they decided to make electronic offers. The entire process took one person only 90 minutes to complete, and all 600 employees signed and returned their offers within 1 day. Electronic signatures don't only reduce paperwork for businesses, they also minimize the paper load on individuals. Consider the elderly, who are already overwhelmed by paper mail. For them, a missed gas bill could result in the heat being turned off, or how a lost phone bill could cut off their ability to communicate in an emergency. Ultimately, electronic signatures have at least 10 specific advantages over traditional signatures. First, they're faster. There's time saved in preparing, printing, and mailing paper documents. Plus, electronic solutions allow less room for human error. Next, there's less waste. When you go paperless, you use less ink, postage, paper, packaging, electricity, and gas. Then there's the lower costs. While the cost of ink and paper may seem small, it can add up to millions of dollars across enterprises. Another advantage is security. You can be assured that the signature on the document matches the person signing, and legal compliance is faster when you don't need to send, file, return, and process paper forms. Also, e-signatures are mobile friendly. Signing electronically allows signers to complete paperwork anywhere, anytime. They're also searchable. You can easily search, audit, and monitor your online documents, whereas physical documents are likely to get lost. And they're easy to complete. Electronic signatures are great for your signees because they're so convenient. Another advantage is that there's time stamped. Most electronic signature solutions record the exact time and date of the signature. They're also legal. Laws on electronic signatures do vary, but e-signatures are generally considered to be legally valid. Lastly, they're modern. A signature might be one of the first introductions a professional has to your company, and first impressions count. An electronic signature will show that your company is sophisticated and high-tech. Clearly, electronic signatures have a wide variety of benefits, and as e-signatures become part of your workflow, they can have unexpected benefits, such as forging customer relationships with tech-savvy younger audiences, paying bills faster, speeding up sales cycles, gaining managerial insights by tracking progress on a dashboard, and reducing work for customer service reps as customers can access documents in real time. As e-signatures become more common, it's essential that your online form builder supports several e-signature technologies. Jotform's e-signature widgets make everything easier for business owners and individuals, so check out our e-signature features today. Phew, that was a lot. So let's review. Signatures originated to ensure three things: authenticity, data, integrity, and non-repudiation. The term electronic signature has a legal definition, a user definition, and a digital definition. There's a long history of writing dating back to 3500 BC. There are some roadblocks to adopting e-signatures, such as commitment to tradition, logistics, and government policies. But there are so many benefits to implementing electronic signatures, some of which are saving time and money, cutting back on material waste, being easier to complete and track, reducing human error, and connecting with younger, more tech-savvy audiences. Again, I'm Raid from Jotform, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.